So what makes a fair and effective consequence? I have touched on this before in the past, but today I'm going to share my own personal life experience on this matter, and hopefully you guys can get some real basis for how to apply it, as well as the importance of the connection that it brings when you utilize these type of strategies rather than just, defaulting to punitive consequences. So my name is Nikki Morrow with To the Moon and Back Behavioral Consulting, and my job is to make your lives as parents easier in the day-to-day. So back to what makes an effective and fair consequence. So we have discussed that it needs to be fair in duration and time. It needs to be applicable to the offense and age appropriate. So all those 3 pointers are the foundation for making a fair consequence. Again, most of my strategies are preventative. A lot of these things, these situations that we come up against could have been prevented or can be prevented. And so that's why I'm so passionate about proactive parenting and making sure that you get this education and these strategies in your pocket so that when push comes to shove, hopefully we don't even have to get to, following through with a consequence. But in the event that you do, because life happens and kids are kids, there is a method to it. So I told you that I was going to go into a life experience. If you follow me on Instagram, then you probably heard this story about a week ago on a live story. And if you didn't, then here it is again. So a few weeks ago, I noticed that there were a couple pens missing off of my desk. And these are special colored pens that I use to color code my calendar because I'm kind of nerdy like that. But anyways, my daughter loves to be in my office, and I have set very clear boundaries with her. Working from home, you kind of have to. So I have told her, she's more than welcome to be in my office. She's more than welcome to borrow my stuff as long as she asks. And, yes, certain things are off limits. And those pens typically are. So she knows the rules, she knows the guidelines, and I noticed that these pens are missing. So I had kind of forgotten about them, but then she comes into my office and I remember to ask her about it. And I'm like, did you by any chance borrow my pink pens? They've been missing for a while now. And I could see the wheels turning, and I could see that she was thinking about whether or not to tell me the truth. And she ended up nodding her head, and she's like, yes, I borrowed them. And so I said, well, I was like, those pens are very important to my work, and you know that, we need to respect mommy's work stuff. And so I asked her if she had asked permission, and she's like, no. And I asked her, I was like, okay, well, do you know where these pens are? And she's like, no. And then I could kind of tell that she was being very flippant about it and didn't really care or respect that I had set that boundary. And so I told her, I was like, well, they're very important to my work, and I need you to go find them. And if we can't find them, then we're gonna have to make this right some way. I'm gonna have to go and replace these pens. It's gonna cost money. So if you cannot find them, then you're gonna have to give me $3 out of your piggy bank to help me replace these pens. So that was how I laid out a consequence. It was fair, it was applicable. I gave her the opportunity to find those pens. If she could, then she wouldn't have to pay the money. But if she couldn't, then she had to make the situation right. She had to repair the situation. So there's so many different skills here that this lesson is teaching. And yes, very easily I could have just let it go. They're pens, big whoopee. They cost about $3, big whoopee. The money wasn't important, but again, from my background and knowing and realizing that I am here to coach her and teach her through these type of situations, to teach her whether, it's okay to take something from somebody without asking, or what the difference is between borrowing and stealing. And I took this as an opportunity to definitely go into that topic with her. And so what I did is I let her know I wasn't angry with her. I wasn't upset. I was more disappointed that she didn't respect and follow the rules about my office and respecting my stuff. And yes, my knee-jerk reaction, luckily I was in the right mindset and the right space. I'm not always to think about this. I am a human. And, but this event, I was in a clear mind space, and I was in a very patient mind space, and I was able to choose to teach her this lesson rather than my knee-jerk reaction of going more into an authoritarian perspective, because I grew up in a household where my father was very strict about his things and his stuff, and he was very meticulous with how he kept it. And anytime, like, God forbid, we touched anything on his desk, if we ever borrowed anything, we needed to ask him first and replace it right to his hand when we were done with it. Otherwise, we were in big trouble. So that is my knee-jerk reaction when push comes to shove. So I don't fault parents at all for going through that, but again, this is about educating ourselves and trying to give ourselves the tools that when we can take advantage of these tools and teach and coach our children on these life lessons. So ended up letting her just go look for the pens. I could hear her getting kind of frustrated. I went about my business, kind of acted ambivalent to the situation. And, I could hear her getting frustrated, so I went and checked in with her. I was like, Jocelyn, if you're feeling frustrated, and you want to give up looking for the pens, I was like, that's fine. I was like, you just give me the $3 and then I'll replace them. If you happen to find them, I'll give you your $3 back, if I haven't replaced them yet. So she ends up coming in a few minutes later and saying, Mommy, I can't find them. I give up. And so I was like, okay. I was like, so we calmly went over to her piggy bank, and she gave me the $3. And, nobody was upset. Nobody was angry. And I asked her if she wanted a hug. And I reiterated that I wasn't angry, and that accidents happen, but it's very important that when we make a mistake that we repair the situation. And in this case, repairing it meant that she had to give me the money to replace those pens if she couldn't find them. So I just wanted to really give this example and let you guys know that had I gone straight to the authoritarian type of punitive punishment, getting upset that my boundaries hadn't been respected and she broke the rules and this was going to be the consequence, and all this stuff, then there would have been a whole wasted opportunity for this teaching and this coaching and this connecting that came through this conversation and through this lesson. And I really feel, like I reiterated to her, the difference between borrowing and stealing, asking permission first and such. And I feel like she really got it. She really got it this time. And had I just brushed it off and been more of that permissive parent, that would have just been like, it's a pen, who cares? I can replace it, it's not important. But again, because I have the training and I have this perspective of let's coach, let's teach. Our job as parents is to teach our kids these life situations, these life lessons. And, luckily and hopefully my sharing this will kind of get you guys to start wrapping your mind and start thinking about things outside of the box of let's just knee-jerk reaction this and do, let our kind of our emotions rule. But instead, if you can just take a step back and really think like, okay, how can I create this into a learning opportunity? How can I create this into a connection-based opportunity with my child? And again, bringing it back to consequences in this event, it was fair in duration, it was fair and age appropriate, it was completely connected to the offense. And I just want to reiterate that bringing home these lessons and attaching it to these tools and these strategies, it really helps to keep things grounded and to keep us grounded in the moment. And you know, again, like my daughter and I in this event, like we had such a wonderful, loving connection. Like I sat there after she had given me the money and I let her know, like, I'm not angry with you. I understand, but I really appreciate you making the situation right. And again, if you happen to find those pens before I replace them, then I'll give you your $3 back. You know, it's not, it was more about teaching that lesson. And yeah, so I hope that you guys got something from this share and from my own life experience. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to situations. This is what kids do. And you know, we have our things and we have these little fingers that come in and touch our stuff and move our things, and some of us deal with it better than others, and some of us are, you know, more structured and liking our things a certain way. So I can relate to either way, and either way is great. But again, just being able to teach our kids these boundaries and these settings, because we may be more permissive than people are out in the real world. And if we don't teach them these lessons in the safe environment that is their home with somebody who's safe, you know, their parent, then they're gonna learn these out in the real world in ways that are a lot more traumatic and not so nice and nurturing. So I hope that you got something from this. If you did, please like it and share it. I look forward to seeing you guys again next week, and have a wonderful weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.